Okay, let's bring you the latest on the Senzo Mayua murder trial. Linda Mnisi has been following developments in court for us. So, Linda Mnisi, Constable Sizwe Zungu's statement, which he made in May of this year, was read out in court. And some of the details are quite disturbing, including how he had knowledge that some of these men that he was meeting with at the hostel were hitmen. His gun at some point, checking it, and his car keys missing, and having to call people to bring back his car keys.
Yes, Dutu, essentially that statement elaborates on the testimony that he's already given in court. You'll remember he did detail the issue around the firearms, and that when they came back, he also had asked for his own firearm to smell it and test if it was not used. He did indicate that he took out the magazine from the very firearm because of the suspicions that it might have been used elsewhere. And now it elaborates on the knowledge that he had about the accused persons. But you'll remember today's proceedings started on a different note to do with the state raising concerns about, trigger-pulling gestures that were made by accused number 5 while he was sitting in the dock yesterday. This is during yesterday's proceedings, and they're saying that the court should view these gestures in serious light, as they could amount to being in contempt of court. This led, of course, to the accused being asked to explain what it is that he was conveying. You'll remember here the lawyer who is also representing him, Advocate Zandile Mshololo, essentially wanting to object to, Fisokuhle Ntuli addressing the court, saying that he was represented, but the judge saying that, he wanted him to address the court on what exactly he was trying to convey. At a later stage, then we saw the judge warning them that such behavior, or they should refrain from making such gestures to the witness. He in fact highlights that this is not the first time that gestures are made to witnesses, and highlights the importance of refraining from such a conduct. But we got to cross-examination to do, and we heard, from Advocate, in fact, Sipora Musipili, who is the lawyer representing accused number 1 and 2, and it was quite interesting because we wanted to hear what he had to say about what has already come out in court about his client and him having been placed at that particular scene. And he says accused number 1 denies, in fact, having been at Gwabini's on that particular day. He says he had in fact lost his job in 2013 and had gone back to KwaZulu-Natal and only came back in 2015. He also, says that he denies being a neighbor of Zungu. He actually comes from Mahlabatini in KwaZulu-Natal, which is a completely different area from Kwanongoma. He also makes the case for accused number 2, saying that he had never met Zungu before, and that on that particular day he was also not at Gwabini's.
During the reading of his statement, that is Constable Zungu, Linda Mnisi, there was a point where it was spoken about certain higher officials within the South African Police Services, and he told one particular officer about the information that he had, and he wanted to relay it to a brigadier, but then that officer said he wanted the brigadier to hit a brick wall. What was that about?
Well, you'll remember that he did indicate that he had been engaging a number of police officers about this matter, and had relayed the information of what he knew and his suspicions at the time, given the fact that the background was that there was now information, that he could have been there at that particular hostel. And he says when information came about what he knew, he told one of the officers, who then indicated that he shouldn't relay the same information of what he knows to other officers who had also come into, wanting to know about this particular evidence that he had. He says the information that he was given at the time was that the other officers had to hit a brick wall around this particular information. So it will, of course, be conversed elaborately at a later stage during cross-examination. You'll remember this statement was now officially being put on record as it was made in May 2023, of course, talking to issues around what happened at the time of this particular issue.
Very quickly, are they back at 2 p.m.?
Back at 2 p.m., cross-examination will continue to do.
Mnisi, thank you very much for that report.